Hello.
Okay, guys, I need somebody to talk because I don't think I can hear anybody.
You don't think you can hear anybody?
I can't.
Can't?
God damn it.
You're an asshole!
I swear, ever since I started using Elgato, I've been having issues.
You're an asshole!
Okay, I found the thing. Brandon, speak.
Asshole! I've been calling you both assholes!
And it's on YouTube for prosperity.
Can it
Excuse
actually
me,
hear
posterity. Let's see. Can YouTube hear Brandon calling me an asshole? The Skype box is covering audio chat. Call me an asshole again and I'll tell you.
me? Asshole!
Yeah, you're peaking like hell.
Asshole. How about now?
That was better. Wow, that was like a great big... let's see. Okay. Full tilt with your asshole comment again.
Asshole!
Alright, that's better. Yeah, you can call me an asshole at that volume, and we'll be good. We'll be good to go.
I can hear you now.
Awesome. And I can hear you both. Alright. Welcome everyone to that video game podcast recording where one guy calls everybody an asshole.
Well, we don't have a parrot that calls everyone an asshole, at least.
Well, that's where we're failing, gentlemen. Alright, so... Trent, are you aware of the 3 topics of discussion?
Vaguely?
Brandon, will you send him the topics of discussion that I sent you earlier?
Wait. You sent me topics of discussion?
Yes. Yes, Brandon, I did.
I remember you sending me like stuff we're going to talk about in relation to like Nintendo.
Okay, the 3 topics of discussion. You know, since I was trying to keep it off of the YouTube, so it would be a surprise or something.
Okay, here we go. Copy.
Pasta.
Paste.
Playing some Disney stuff tonight on the podcast. And it's not Kingdom Hearts.
Thank God.
I should, at some time, play some Kingdom Hearts on here.
So, have y'all heard about that Judas Priest followed in Maiden's footsteps and released a mobile game?
What?
Yeah.
Wow. That's...
Why not, okay? Doesn't Dream Theater have one?
Yeah, but theirs is at least tied to their silly concept album.
The silly concept album that you and a few other people liked?
I really liked it, yeah. It doesn't make it any less silly, but it's a good album.
I still haven't listened to it.
It's pretty much classic John Petrucci songwriting.
With a whole lot of 1 minute...
No, you see, there's classic John Petrucci writing, and then there's after 6 Degrees writing. They're not the same.
Okay, it's more like pre-6 Degrees writing. Actually, it's a lot like 6 Degrees, because it's very on the nose.
The lyrics are kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
Well, that's always been that way. I mean.
Well, I mean, it's a rock opera that's not
It's
from
cheesy
the
even
70s.
for Dream Theater.
Welcome to our video game podcast where we talk about Dream Theater. Yes. Well, we're not recording the podcast
as we
yet.
said, they have a video game.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it's only on mobile phones, but...
Okay, so it doesn't actually count, is what you're saying.
Not to me it doesn't, but to some people it does.
It looks like... I've seen the Dream Theater one, and it looks like one of those fee-to-pay games.
I mean, y'all seen the Maiden one, right?
I have not.
you play as a whole different types of like Eddies from their history, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you got like Somewhere in Time Eddie against the Trooper Eddie and stuff like that. I haven't actually played it because I don't play mobile games, and I'm not sure my phone could handle it because I have an old piece of crap phone. But I sort of felt like Judas Priest was just sort of ripping off Maiden by doing this, and people thought that they were just announcing the new album that they were making.
Oops.
No. Although that was sort of a, oh yeah, also we're releasing a new album. Like that was the second.
So that's not
lower
important.
Piece of news.
Yeah, that's not important.
So you guys ready?
Honestly, mobile games need to die, but they're not going to.
I'm not going to disagree with that at all. You guys ready to get started?
Yep.
All right.
I thought I did just started.
All right, here we go. Brandon, you want to chime us in this week?
I can.
You shall.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of the Z Trigger Podcast. My name is Brandon Harris. Pause. Pause. How you doing?
Willie Mays all of a sudden, you know, because it sounded like he was yelling the whole thing. I'm Brandon Harris for OxyClean.
Damn right.
Well, I'm William Hill.
Yeah, I'm Trent. As
Yes,
always.
that's asshole 1 and asshole 2.
Brandon
With
is
him
calling.
always, his guard.
Brandon is in a mood to call us assholes tonight. He was calling us assholes on the live stream, and now he's calling us assholes on the podcast.
Y'all came on, and you both were like, we can't hear anything. I'm like, well, fine. You're an asshole, and you're an asshole, and you can't hear me. Ha ha.
Well, to be fair, mine was a matter of technical issues, which I have now resolved. My microphone is not dying. I'm very happy about this.
I have no idea what the problem with mine was because I didn't even change anything when I came back on. So I was like, okay, all the settings are correct. What the hell?
All right, well, technical problems aside, I think it is time for us to talk about video games and video game-related things here on the show.
And video game accessories, all right?
Damn it, Bobby!
How about movies about video game? Because that book you love so much, Brandon. The new trailer for it came out.
Yeah, I did. I haven't watched it. Brad watched it.
I did.
Like I said, I don't watch trailers if I can. If I can avoid them, I avoid them.
Although it doesn't look very video game-ish. It's more like you see like the Iron Giant in there and the DeLorean and
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Lord.
My eyes rolled hard at both of those things.
yeah.
Well, see that.
I was like, this does not look like the book at all either. The storyline.
But at the same time, that's what the book does.
Yeah.
And why I couldn't read it, because I kept rolling my eyes every time it brought up something from, the 80s. So yes, it was. That's why I couldn't go very far, because I was like, oh my god, please stop. It keeps going with these references. Stop.
It's like we didn't start the fire, but for the 80s.
Oh no.
And without Billy Joel.
Yeah, so
it's not like we didn't start the fire at all.
right. Instead, you know what? Whenever because I've heard you talk about it, and that trailer kind of confirmed one of my responses to your review a while back. It's Lifehouse, but video games.
Yeah.
It's the
yeah.
It is the long, discussed, never released Who album that turned into Who's Next about the internets. Except now it's video games.
And with no who music.
That's right. So Although the trailer did have Tom Sawyer in it.
And before that, it had Willy Wonka's Pure Imagination played very slowly.
Oh, I did not notice that. Of course, I was watching it on my phone.
Well, so was I, but I was like, wait a minute, is that? And then I was like, it is.
I'm going to be honest with you. Trent, I know you dig the book and all. That trailer just made me not want to read that book at all.
Honestly,
it's a very divisive book.
Apparently,
yes, if you want an indication of why that book was successful, look at his follow-up work and note how everybody hates it. When you compare it to this one, and you begin to realize that the only reason why a bunch of people actually did end up enjoying it is because of the nostalgia. If it did not have that, I don't think it would have gotten as much notoriety as it did.
Yeah, Armada, even people that liked Ready Player One didn't really care for. I liked it okay, but just for one read, it was short. And, But yeah, video game movie coming out next year. Steven Spielberg directing.
So, on the subject of better video game tie-ins, or video game things that are of a viewing quality rather than a playing quality, have either of you watched Castlevania yet?
No.
I did.
Brandon, wasn't it way better than it really had any right to be?
Yes, and I'm going to say this, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of the people who like regular anime that's going to like blasphemy. One of the reasons why is because it's not Japanese. It has, of course, it has the Japanese influence because it is anime, but it is very much a Western-oriented cartoon thing.
Yeah,
much like Bebop,
which was Japanese. But what you're trying to say is that it doesn't have. It's not anime like we're getting now, is what you're trying to say.
Sorta. I mean, I liked a bunch of Japanese anime influenced. Actually, it was made for Japan. It had with Japan in mind, but I still happen to be able to enjoy it, like Technolize and stuff like that.
Man, Technolize is good stuff.
But this one really doesn't have those. It doesn't have any of the Japanese feel. It has far superior writing than what you get nowadays. Mostly for the fact that Netflix wants it to succeed. Because that's the only way they can make money out of this stuff, which is sort of why I like these streaming services making television type stuff over traditional television. While regular television can cut corners for advertising, Netflix doesn't have that. They have the satisfaction of its audience alone to make money off of it. So they have to make it good. And I like that, because it forces them to always try and give us the best product possible.
Which is great, because like I said last week whenever we first talked about it, Netflix is just constantly cranking out cool stuff too lately, or at least quality stuff. Like, even if I don't like it, most of the material they're putting out is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that said, I'm not going to say that about something like 13 Reasons Why, because that looks like a bunch of things I would hate. But, like, look at Stranger Things. Just because it's I just watched movies with Mikey's video about Stranger Things. I've not spoken to anybody personally who does not like that show. And I feel like, for the most part, aside from a few purists who like early Castlevania specifically, and nothing else, it's everybody I talk to really digs what was done with Castlevania.
Well, it's hard not to. I'm very critical, about anime, and I thoroughly enjoyed the hell out of that. It was funny. It was serious. It had everything I needed to make me satisfied. When he fucking chops off the man's finger And a few seconds later, it lands in the snow, and he's like, "How's the finger? I laughed my ass off."
Oh, that's dialogue that only Warren Ellis could do, I swear. Oh. Okay. So, I'm gonna tell the people about the thing I'm playing. I am playing Epic Mickey 2 for the Wii U.
Did you ever play Mickey 1?
I played it. I never finished it.
You're playing the bad one. Well, not bad, but...
You know, I don't...
The one that wasn't held as highly as the other one.
Yeah,
of course, I've only played the Xbox 360 version of it.
Oh, well... Yeah. I can already tell you that the controls are a little funky on this one. And I don't know. I've had it for a long time. I got it for $6 at Target when they cleared it.
Wasn't the controls one of the things that people griped about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And camera.
Camera, something like that.
It's got some funkiness going on in it. That's for sure. So, but that is what I'm playing.
Funky with Mickey Mouse.
That is not a thing that people should want to do.
Well, I don't know. The people in the costumes at Disney World probably get funky with their significant others.
Wearing Mickey Mouse?
I don't know. Some of those people are weird. They might be closet furries. Who knows?
That seems like a possibility. So, anyway, what are you guys playing this week?
I picked up Horizon again.
Nice.
Mostly,
he picked it up, but he didn't play it.
No, I played it. I want to have to get readjusted to the mechanics again because I don't quite remember everything. But yeah, I plan to try and get further along because looking at the map, I was like, wow, I've not done a lot. There's still like, if you divide up the map, I maybe have revealed like a fourth of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very large map. So I haven't really done a whole lot. So I still have quite a bit ahead of me.
Very nice. What about you, Trent? You had any time for gaming this week?
Not really. I would have had time last night, but I did something very unlike me and went to a party.
Oh, wow. That is not a thing I do, so I commend you on socializing.
Yeah.
I do enough of that shit at work. They can kiss my ass.
Hey, and everyone there were people from my work, so...
Damn. See, people I work with wouldn't invite me to parties because...
I was like...
Well, shit, like, you met me.
I got invited. I got invited to a party. I better go. Doesn't happen often.
Well, I have gamed this week. I played a lot. So you guys are gonna have to put up with me talking about the crap I played for a while here.
Oh man, we have to talk about video games
on our video game podcast. What kind of bullshit is this?
Yeah.
Okay, so
go ahead.
So let's start off with the game I played on the live stream last week, and that was the game adaptation of Revenge of the Sith. You know, they don't adapt video games into movies into video games anymore.
Only if they're Lego.
I didn't know that they do that these days.
Well, they did that for Force Awakens.
That's true. That is true. You know, I still want to pick that up. Anyway, so I finished it about a day and change after we did the show, and it's really weird. I got a little bit better at the, because we talked about how funky some of the controls could be at times with that game, especially whenever you're doing things like lightsaber dueling and whatnot. It got easier as I went along. I didn't just have constant frustration like I was kind of having issues with the other night. But I finished it, and the last boss, was, of course, You're playing as Obi-Wan fighting Anakin. And he was a fucking pushover.
Well, that follows the movie very well.
No, I mean, like, you'd think the final boss of the game would be like, oh, it's gonna be more challenging than fighting like Count Dooku or something like that. Nope. Instead, I stomped his ass on the first try. I walked through the boss. There were a few things about the game though that in the end were really irritating. Like, some of the bosses got grindy in a very not fun way, namely in that you had to like heal, not heal, that's another word before. You actually have to sit there and wait for the right time to attack, and you can't attack because it's a flying spaceship that's several yards away. And that made for a frustratingly dull set of boss fights. Like, bosses that take like 15 minutes, even though they're not that hard. Those were just not fun, and that was in 2 of the later levels of the game. It was really disappointing. So, I got through that, and then, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I've been working on finishing Star Ocean, the second story for the PS1. This is the one I'm really excited to talk about. Brandon is telling me to die in Epic Mickey. Thanks, Brandon.
You're welcome.
So anyway,
I like to show my support.
Well, I thank you. I think so. Star Ocean. First and foremost, Brandon, you can correct me if you think differently, but I bought this game when I was 16. That was 14 years ago. It was 2003. I was really late to the PS1. And I finally got a copy of Star Ocean at GameStop. No, it wasn't even GameStop. It was an electronics boutique at the mall in Wilmington. They hadn't all become GameStops yet. So I can distinctly remember sitting outside of Belk or something, peeling the like 12 stickers that Electronics Boutique put on the front cover, the back cover, the discs, and the instruction manual, and they closed both spines.
Yeah, they were ridiculous with their stickers.
It was insane. And so I finally got them all off.
Shock, literally.
Yeah. And, you know, you can't even tell now, except for a tiny little bit of, like, dried up residue on the instruction manual. But, yeah, I still remember peeling all those damn things off. So, get home, playing the game. It was probably 2 weeks, and then playing it on and off amidst all the other role-playing games. Because when I was playing RPGs back then, I was not focused at all. And I'd be playing, like, 6 and 7 games at a time. That's not too much different than now. But anyway. And I got stuck pretty quickly fighting trying to finish the little tournament thing, because it's a Japanese role playing game. You got to have a little tournament thing.
They don't do that anymore.
No, they don't. And so fighting the little tournament thing stuck me because it was kind of tough, and I hadn't been grinding because I hadn't learned yet at that point that grinding was 99% of what you're supposed to do in a JRPG. And it got even worse because I was also getting stoned by every single monster. Well, petrified, not stoned.
You were getting stoned, huh?
Let's use the right verb.
In a JRPG? Really?
Let's use the right word here. It's petrified. I kept getting petrified over and over again. So grinding followed, and then I finally got past that, and eventually I made it to the second disc, and I got stuck at the beginning of the second disc. This was probably even a year later, because I had decided that I did not like the fact that you couldn't control your characters, and that really frustrated me. Lord, what the future of JRPGs would become. And so I kept on playing, and I had to grind again, and I got past the Cyanide battle at the beginning of Disc 2, when you go to the new world. And then then probably another year of, hacking at this damn game, I finally got to the end, and I was able to go to the final dungeon. But then I couldn't even get into the dungeon, because the final area of this game opens with 3 asshole bosses that can completely wreck you if you're not ready. So that's the save file I was running on whenever I started the game, because I had not played this. I'd had one save file where I'd gotten into the final dungeon, and I was like level 13, and or 113, not 13. That makes no sense. So I don't have that save file anymore. I do not know what happened. It may be on. God only knows what it's on, because I know that whenever I lived with Brandon, you could play PS1 games on the PS3, and he had a PS3, so I fired up his PS3 and used it at some point, but I think I got all my saves off of your PS3, so I don't think it's on there. But needless to say, I had to go back and do all that work again. Turns out, this is the really shitty part. I didn't really know a lot about how role-playing games worked back then. So, like, my skill set was really kind of crap. And I had also tried to focus on the crafting systems in the game, because Star Ocean's always been about its crafting systems. Way on back to... I don't know about the first one, but since that one at the very least. Brandon, you played the first one. What would you say?
I don't remember. I actually have it sitting beside, at least the case of it sitting beside me. I don't honestly remember if there was crafting. I'm sure there was.
I mean, that's what it became known for after the second one. It's because there is an insane amount of crafting stuff in that game. But, I never really got any good at the crafting. So... Which is a shame, because some of the crafting skills I'd actually leveled up to level 10. I kept making junk. It was really irritating. So for finishing the game, this is what it took. I got my characters, I got Claude up to level 104. And my other characters were about level 98. But and even then, like, I would go in to fight the final boss, at like level 96 or whatever, and I couldn't keep my characters alive because the final boss has some insane AoE magic, and that ruined things. And then I actually started looking at my combat skills seriously for the first time. Which is why I was so screwed. So I maxed out a few of those, and then I beat the final boss on the next try. I don't remember most of the game itself. I remember some of the key points. I remember the Cynard battle because it caused me so much trouble. I remember fighting the 10 wise men throughout the second disc. There's a lot of that stuff that I remember doing, but I wish I did remember the broader strokes that the game went on, because I feel like I would probably have liked that game a lot more had I understood the mechanics that were in place. I really lost out on this game by having no idea how to fucking play it. And my biggest complaint now is that here I am 14 years after starting it, wishing this game had a New Game Plus so I could do it all again without having to go through the trouble of leveling up characters to 104 a second time. So I think what I'm ultimately trying to say is that Star Ocean 2 is really damn good if you have any intelligence about how to play it whatsoever.
And patience.
Patience as well. Because
that's just any JRPG, though.
Not so much. Like, you can grind your way through some problems in JRPGs. That's not one you can really do that with.
Well, even grinding requires patience because it's repetitive.
I can't disagree with that, but it's like I can grind. I can sit there and I can grind, but trying to figure out the subtleties of a skill system like that, some 14 years after I've started a game, that's tough. That is tough. But I'm, after I get some more games caught up, maybe after I finish maybe after I finish Final Fantasy 12, maybe then I can, maybe then I'll give Star Ocean 3 a try, because I've had that sitting on the shelf for quite some time, and I actually have a strategy guide for that one. So that might help alleviate some of the issues I have with figuring out, skill systems and things like that. But, I mean, I shouldn't have as much trouble as I did with this one, because I literally I chose things that increase my stats rather than the things that would actually keep my characters alive in combat, if that makes sense. Okay. So, yeah. Alright, so I'm done talking about that. Now,
that's all I have to say about that.
As for the game I'm playing right now, I'm doing a thing, and there's like this big glowy blue thing over there, and I want to get it, but if I go into the green murky poison stuff, I die. And asshole the rabbit here keeps saying, yeah, you should paint something. Duh. Fuck you, I know I need to paint something, I just can't figure out what.
Hey, Oswald is not an asshole.
Asshole.
Oswald's being an asshole right now. That looks like a
Oswald is a
Mario.
lucky rabbit.
I'm gonna throw his lucky ass in this poison until I can figure out what I need to paint. Anyway, so nobody else has played anything. I've also been playing Tales of Hearts R. I'm not ready to talk about it too much yet, other than that's a fun game. It's pretty cool. It's not brilliant or anything, but I'm having fun with it. I know that not everybody digs it, but I think it's the most fun I've had with. It's a really fun entry in the Tales series. It's one of the more fun JRPG things I've played in a while, in terms of like just being raw fun. I kind of like that the plot's. It's got one of the silliest JRPG calls to adventure I've ever heard in my life. And that's, so you live in, of course you live in the small town, and you have to go and do the thing for somebody. And in this case, this girl has, you accidentally cause this girl to have her entire all the aspects of her personality splintered, and it shatters all over the country. So, when you get her out of her coma, essentially, the only thing she feels is kindness. Okay, silly enough. Second one is fear. So after she gets her second shard back, she's fucking terrified of literally everything. And now that we've gotten her her sense of suspicion back, they're like, don't give that to her. Because that's not going to end well. So, yeah, it's silly, but it's fun. It's everything I really want a Tales game to be most of the time. Which is not that serious, but, while still having an entertaining enough plot. It's something that a lot of JRPGs really need to figure out how to do. Because, whenever you think silly JRPG now, it's usually one of those very bad anime ones that is all about fan service. And this one has not succumbed to that. Hell, I don't even think Tales has really succumbed to that yet. The plots aren't as good, but it's still fine, But anyway, let's get into some other stuff. Brandon, why don't you commence with a thing you would like to get us started talking about?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Because I don't know.
How about this? I will start us on something. All right.
Yeah.
Because it's we're still in that like funk without where we have no gaming news going on.
Yeah, because what we have, I'm like, yeah, I could talk about it. I mean, but it's I mean, if you want, okay, I'll talk about something there because I know a lot of people like this game, and it may come with some stuff that some people see as worth it. But the price of that Undertale collection is fucking retarded.
Are you talking about the collector's edition or the regular version?
The collector's edition.
Okay, I'll give you that the collector's edition is bonkers.
$64 for what?
Well, you get the soundtrack, you get some sheet music. I don't remember what all else was in there.
And it looks like you get a medallion that I guess plays music.
Huh.
Which
Not a medallion, but a necklace, a charm necklace.
I actually think that's
my charm.
I think that's actually relative to the
I'm sure
plot.
it is, but it doesn't matter. It's $64. Now, at the time, I guess I missed the standard edition.
It's still available.
So all I saw was the $64 thing, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Let's get the art book.
I understand that people like it. Even with all that, to me, it's not worth $64. All that stuff, I like collecting certain things, but a lot of that is just junk that's just going to end up lying around and it serves no purpose. A statue you can set up in like a display or something. You can show it off to people if they come to your house. Usually, if the publisher isn't an asshole, it's made of some pretty solid material. This is all literal junk. Yeah, you get an art book, but that's just so common fare that
it's not even noticeable anymore.
Yeah, so there's literally nothing in this to warrant $64.
In this case, I think it's your mileage may vary thing, but here's my my 2 cents on the value of Undertale. I would pay $25 for it. That's how much I will pay if I end up buying it, because it's supposed to be one of the most clever takes on the Japanese role-playing game out there right now, and I'm all for that. Really, I am. Here's the thing. It's short.
Yeah, it is very short.
You are designed to play it multiple times. Do not get me wrong. I know that is the case. But I cannot believe that they are trying to get $65 out of a game that one run-through takes about 3 to 4 hours. And again, I know it's meant to be played several times. I'm not discounting that fact. But
honestly, though, I've not played it, so you'll have to. I don't know how much you know about the game, but
I know a bit, yeah.
Unless you intentionally make different decisions, won't the game just play out the same?
Oh no, you literally have to play the game differently. And,
well, that doesn't have to
here's
the purpose.
Here's what's really funky though, and part of the game's brilliance in a way. It remembers what you did on previous playthroughs.
Okay.
So you, to get certain things, you have to beat it a number of times, and I'm even pretty sure, just by guessing, that you would benefit from playing it different each way in a certain order. But that's me, talking out of my ass, kind of. I don't know because I haven't played it yet.
Talking out of your ass. How very Jim Carrey of you.
Because this is a game where you have, like, one of the modes, you have to play it in like in the pacifist way, where you don't kill any of the monsters in the game. And then there's the one where you kill everything, and so on and so forth. There's several different ways that this game's story pans out, can pan out based on how you play it, and that's pretty damn brilliant if you think about it. It's just a matter of one, if you really want to play a game that many times to get all the different endings and so on and so forth, but also if you really, you have to, I think it's the kind of thing where you have to like that game and its gameplay each time, because otherwise you've kind of wasted your time on it. Now the thing is, the digital version's like $10, and you know, it's on Steam, so it's gonna have like a dozen sales a month or whatever to, you know, further make it available to as many people as possible. It's an indie title. I'm of two minds on the $65 version. I don't think there's anything in there specifically that makes it. I don't see anything in there that makes it valuable to me. But I know that there's probably somebody who's like, "Oh, I played the game and I know such and such." And honestly, the locket with the music box, that's probably not the cheapest thing to have made nowadays. just from the, you know, playing devil's advocate to the cost of manufacturing that. Nothing else in there really seems like it's that expensive, because CDs and a Blu-ray case for those CDs and then some printed sheet music, that's a few bucks. That's about it. That's not $65. But for $25, I think I would pay $25 for this game. But that, you know, whenever I sent you guys this link, this isn't the only Japanese role-playing game style thing to get a surprising physical edition. And the fact that, you know, we're even talking about it being a surprise on this next one is the reason why I brought it up whenever I saw it this week. So, Brandon, you remember .hack, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I know you played the first .hack.
Yep.
Did you ever get the second and third ones? Well, did you ever finish the set of the first one?
I never finished the first set of games. I know I have a number of them.
So that's what I was wondering. I didn't know if you had gotten all 4 titles or not.
I honestly can't remember. I'd have to go digging.
So,
not sure that it would matter, because I don't know if I would actually play them.
Well, I mean, you still have your PS2, right?
Yeah.
And you probably still
Does
have
it
your...
work?
Hell, I was...
Does it work? I'm pretty sure one of them works. I have 2 for some reason. But it's not so much as, you know, the ability to play, is if I would.
Oh, okay.
Because it was, you know, it was an okay experience. It didn't blow my mind.
So, but anyway, it was. I would say that, you know, .hack at the time was a pretty interesting exercise. It was a fake MMO, right down to having message boards that you got on in the game to talk about, like, non-existent MMO players about the game that's inside of the game you're playing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on with the original .hack, and while it may not be the perfect RPG, like from what I've remember reading in reviews, it has some of the same problems that Xenosaga kind of got away with, in that it's a serialized experience selling you like a 25-hour game for $50. And that was even back at a time whenever that was considered a bad thing to do. That's a thing you didn't do back then. It's not like now where you can ship a 6-hour game and it's like, oh, it's got multiplayer. Fuck you. But the second series game, I never even tried to play the second one. And do you remember? Did you buy any of those? I'm just asking because I'm just trying.
I seriously doubt it.
Okay. Well, anyway, apparently it's got a bit of a fan base because it's getting a trilogy set release on the PS4. And this comes as a great shock to me that it's even coming stateside, because I don't even remember anybody... I don't know that I personally know anybody who watched the anime when it was out. And when we tried to watch the anime, that was the thing. The Dot Sign was.
It was.
So I'm not sure exactly how this fan base... I'm not sure the fan base here for this, but it's getting released here, and it's coming out in November. That's pretty cool. Here's what's stunning to me. I was on N4G the other day, and there was an article saying that it was shocking that Namco Bandai was actually going to release a physical release of this game in the States. And my immediate thought was, why is that shocking? Why is it surprising to anybody that this game's coming out on a disc? Have we reached that point where non-AAA releases coming out on discs is meant to be a blessing in any way, shape, or form? Because those games could not have been cheap for Namco to make back in the PS2 era, because it should be noted that I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that GU did this as well. But the original Dot Hack, each game came with an anime DVD. It was like it was like 40 minutes of anime, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was substantially long, considering it was a pack-in with a game. And you know, I've always wanted to pick up the games just because I want to know what that story was. I thought the anime was pretty good. And I'm pretty sure that I mean, I think that GU did as well. Brandon, you could check that for me. I did not actually do my research on this like I needed to. I'm sorry. So whenever the fact that this is getting a physical release is a big shock, and this is coming off of, you know, finding out about the Undertale, you know, physical release as well. I'm wondering if the audience of the Japanese role playing games, or especially, you know, since these are usually more RPGs in general have been more lavish productions even since like the 80s, going back to like Ultima or something, or maybe even the Gold Box D&D games. Is this audience the one that's going to keep physical games? Are they the ones that are kind of like holding the torch for games media because they remember when it was such a lavish production? or is it just a thing of like, oh, these guys will pay for it because they already buy dumb crap from us anyway? What do you guys think? What do you think about it, Brandon? What do you think about this? The fact that it seems to be that we're the audience for keeping physical games media around. Because think about it, we're the type of people that complained about I Am Setsuna not getting a release in the States on disc, and now that Lost Sphere is being made, Square's like, oh well, okay, well, we're gonna make you buy it from us directly, but yeah, we're gonna do a disc release. Do you think that there's Do you think there's potentially a correlation between these two things?
Maybe. You have to note that physical releases was limited when it comes to the Square game.
That's true, and it's from them directly too. They're controlling the every aspect of that game's sale and release.
I guess it's possible. But I mean, we're so small that I don't think it's going to matter. I mean, we may eventually, if you know, there's still a possibility of having a physical release of something, they may do like what's that thing that a bunch of like movie studios are doing on demand, like they print it on demand.
Oh yeah, like Warner Brothers is doing, because I think isn't that who's doing it, Trent?
Yeah, Warner Brothers Archives, yeah.
Yeah, so we may eventually decrease to something to like that, and they may have that around for people like us. But I think I think it's a little bit of a. I think it's a little bit of a stretch to think that is more than it's just right now. Physical media is still bought. I mean, it's not a market that you can just that no one pays attention to. People still buy physical games. Yeah, it's slowly decreasing, but it's still, if you print a limited amount of copies of a game that is not going to sell millions of copies of, you're guaranteed to sell them, depending on the studio anyway.
And and another aspect of the whole collector's edition thing is, and actually this is something I want to say is actually kind of the only positive that I see to Square handling the Lost Sphere release and limited with is you don't have to worry about scalpers with something like Lost Sphere.
No.
Which is a plus, because we're about to get into talking about Nintendo here in a minute. Because damn them on several things this week. But so you don't think that the JRPG crowd is the kind of group that's keeping it around? You think it's just there's a niche in general that'll keep it going through possibly something like Warner Archives?
Yeah, I mean, because that's why else would companies like NIS America or Atlas release these really niche titles over here, unless there's just a little bit of a market there, and that market buys it up. But it's pretty much the same thing. Will we still, as long as there's physical releases, get physical releases? Probably, but I mean, they'll do it while they're able, and I mean, I don't think there'll be massive amounts of them.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think the Japanese role-playing games and their similar titles are going to change the entire market back to being about physical games media again. But it's something to speculate on, and I think that you're probably right about the Warner market, because that's actually a pretty good thing. I wouldn't exactly prefer that though, because I'm still the kind of moron who likes to buy those games in actually at a store. But we'll see. We will definitely see in the future, and I just hope that it's not coming as fast as it sometimes seems like it is. Because if you look at the past couple of years and how much guys like Microsoft have been trying to take that away from us, to take away, being able to buy a game in a store because they're worried about losing money on used sales or whatever, which, as this generation is going to show us, it's a crock of shit by and large. I know that time's running out on being able to buy a game on a disc, but in the same stroke, look at the Xbox One X game download sizes, where you got to download like 50 gigabytes of graphics just so it can have 4K, and that's just on Forza.
Hell, I have to download stuff that size now, depending on the game.
Yeah, but think about it being for every game. Every game, and if it's something like, The Witcher or something, it'd be like 100, 150, 200 gigabytes possibly. It baffles me that they're trying to get away from physical media, yet at the same time they keep making the download sizes bigger, and they're not accepting the fact that way too many there's way too many people trying to put data caps on internet speeds. Like Spectrum just bought out Time Warner, and we're looking at them limiting our internet and putting a cap on us at some point. So everybody, there's so many people who think that everything needs to go to digital, but from the perspective of somebody who remembers being able to put a game in and just start playing, I think they've lost their damn minds. Because I don't want to have to sit there and wait for an hour just to install, and then also, oh, well, if you want to have, we're also going to have to give you another 20 gigabytes in graphics upgrades. That sucks. I'm sorry. That's a crap way to think about where we're going with the future of games, you know?
It is weird that they're doing that with our infrastructure being so lousy. It makes you wonder, it's like, do they have a plan to make this work? I mean, are they going to be, you know, trying to work with internet companies to maybe change things?
No.
Because for one, I mean, even if you don't have a data cap, I mean, internet's fucking slow. I mean, I have a 60 meg connection, so my highest download speed's like 8 megabytes a second. Which honestly, it probably wouldn't be able to do much more than that, because it's not like these consoles carry the, you know, latest and greatest super duper uber, you know,
wireless
network connections.
Yeah, in fact, they're crap, actually. They're the cheapest ones they can put in because they consider that less important than the stuff that powers, like, the hottest new next generation graphics.
I mean, I have all my consoles that I've played, I have them wired anytime I'm ever doing anything, just in case. But yeah, even then, they're only going to be able to go so fast. I mean, they can only handle so much data at a time. I don't know, it just makes me wonder, like, with how the Xbox One was originally supposed to be. God, I don't know how they thought that was a good idea. Even, like, on hindsight, that would have been just, like, the biggest fucking nightmare. And these companies are like, no, it'll be fine. No, it won't.
They don't care about people who live in... They don't seem to remember that people in small towns buy the games that they make. They don't care about it.
Do you not remember what Spencer said? He's like, we had the 360 for that. You people just go and buy the 360. And I was like, see, that's an asshole thing to say. That's why they failed. That's why this Xbox One X bullshit isn't going to do anything for them, because they've already shot themselves in the foot.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna suffer this shit for an entire generation, if not longer. And honestly, if they don't pull it out on the next generation, like I think they would try one more console after the Xbox One X. But if the next one is as much of a fuck up as the One X is, which statistically, based on the history of other game consoles, they'll actually get something right the next time out. I don't see them doing another console. I don't see Microsoft staying in video games in that capacity.
It's possible to think, you know, that they think they do have it right already.
Oh, Microsoft never thinks they're wrong.
Oh yeah, they think they're in the right now. Honestly, when it comes to like another console, I don't exactly know the form it's going to be, but it ain't going to be anything close to what we have now. They're going to dive further into the merging of the PC and the home console thing.
I don't think we'll have discs or any sort of physical media at next console.
You see, I'm not exactly sure. I think that with Sony specifically, it's going to all depend on if another format comes in to supplant Blu-ray in the next few years. You know, because we've got 4K Blu-ray, HD, blah 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 stuff, and there's a market for the high output mediums like that. They grow.
Basically, Sony has said that Blu-ray is the last physical medium that at least they're going to try to make. I mean, well, they made Blu-ray.
I know, but fuck them then. They gotta continue progressing and being able to sell me dumb shit. I need to buy another copy of Blade Runner someday, you assholes. To go with my other like 4 copies or what have you. Because I am an idiot and I have way too many copies of that movie. Hell, I need somebody to make a format where eventually they'll put Star Wars out on it again and actually give me a theatrical cut this time.
Yeah, well, we'll keep hoping for that and die.
Yeah, probably. You'd think Disney would want the money there.
20th Century Fox actually still owns the rights to the first film.
Okay, you'd think they would both want the money. And there's not a Lucas in the way.
It was probably in like George's contract that when he signed the stuff over, you may never release. And you cannot blame it on me.
Fucking Lucas ruining the trilogy even from outside of the trilogy.
He's just a miserly guy.
I have a really weird disposition towards Lucas. Like,
he is a miserly guy, though.
I know, but
You've seen him in interviews?
Oh, I know. He's such an asshole. Like,
he hated The Force Awakens.
Did he really?
Yes.
I wonder how much of that is just like flat out pride because he wanted it to be his thing and they didn't use any of his ideas.
Well, this is exactly what I didn't want to do. I mean...
Well, tough shit. You didn't do it.
He says, this is just a nostalgia trip. And...
Well, I mean, I can't...
Says the guy who put C-3PO and R2 in every single movie. Including prequels.
This is true.
But then he changed it to say, oh, it's all their story. It's C-3PO and R2-D2 stories, which makes sense. I mean, that's how the first Star Wars starts. It's them you're following.
Yep. I mean, and that's him, ripping off...
Hidden Fortress?
Yeah, Hidden Fortress.
Yeah.
Which,
Watch Kurosawa films, people.
Yeah, because... Once you watch Kurosawa films, American cinema is like, well, that's Kurosawa.
Yeah. Yeah, you watch Magnificent Seven? Oh, yep, that's Kurosawa.
It's Kurosawa. It's good in the back. When Fistful of Dollars.
Yep.
It's Yojimbo.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have that, and I still need to watch it. It's just getting me to watch subtitled films.
Getting Joe to watch subtitled films.
No, me. Me specifically. I fall asleep too much when I'm watching movies.
Man, I get home from work and I just fall asleep no matter what I'm doing.
Man, that's been my life for the past year and change. Switching.
Trying to read, trying to eat.
Man, being an adult is hard, right?
Yeah. I can understand why so many of them do drugs now.
We were talking about a thing a minute ago. Okay, so back to...
We were talking about unadult things.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, continuing to desire to give massive corporations money for shit that I've already given them money for.
Oh, you mean like the Super NES Classic?
Oh, that's a hell of a transition. Yes, Brandon, how excited are you that you were one of the lucky people to pre-order an SNES Classic this morning or last night?
It was funny. I didn't even know because some people had posted an article about it, like maybe like a couple minutes after I did it, but I was just checking my email because I have this compulsion to check my email every now and then, and I was like, email from Walmart, and I was like, your item is now back in stock. I was like, what fucking item? Click. Super NES, like click. And I was like, it's gonna be sold out by the time I get there. I was like, holy shit, they're still there. I was like, add to cart. And I was like, well, by the time I get checked out, it's going to be sold out. Nope. And eventually it said, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. You have now pre-ordered. I was like, holy shit, I actually got one. And I was like, let's go back to the website. Maybe they're sold out now. Nope. I was like, Brad, the Classic's on sale at Walmart. Shit, he's asleep.
I was. I'd been asleep since like 10 o'clock. I was pissed, man.
Yeah, it sold out in like 40 minutes.
Damn.
What's funny is it was
That's
up
Walmart,
there,
right?
Yep.
Yeah, it was up there for maybe 10 minutes before anybody noticed. And I was like, I knew these motherfuckers would put this shit up, in the middle of the fucking night.
To be fair, that
assholes.
Walmart's literally the only retailer who has done a pre-order.
You see,
In the U.S.
Like after I got it pre-ordered, I was like, well, what about everybody else? So I went and started checking around with everybody, and no one else had it on sale yet. I was like, well, what the fuck? Was this a mistake? Are they gonna come back and tell me that I can't? They're not going to, honor my pre-order?
That's very Walmart.
Because somebody could get punched in the face. But no, they've not done anything. They let it go. I did go around and looking, and a lot of people was like, I got 2. I was like, that's because you're an asshole.
Actually, here's the fact on the ones who got 2. Walmart canceled their fucking pre-orders. Walmart canceled the pre-orders of a lot of people who
Good
ordered
for
more
you,
than one.
Walmart.
Yeah,
You
seriously.
did something right for
See,
once.
what I saw a lot of people saying, it's like, yeah, I have 2 different accounts, so I did one on each.
Okay, now that is a douchebag thing to do. Now, anybody who just ordered 2 on one account, they did not get a second system. So, good on Walmart for trying. Now, they should have filtered it by address. Because fuck people. I didn't get one. Fuck you if you got 2. If you bought... No. Here, seriously. If you bought 1 to play... If you bought one because you wanted an SNES Classic, good on you. I'm glad you got one. Brandon, when you get yours, if I don't end up with one, you need to bring it by the house so I can play Star Fox 2, okay? But in all seriousness, fuck anybody who bought them to sell them. Because you're an asshole. Because ultimately...
You're an asshole.
Yes. You're the person that...
If you want a good song about assholes, Halloween did a song called Asshole.
It's one of my favorites on that album. I really like that song. Yeah, seriously, fuck you. Fuck scalpers. If you even only got 1 to sell back like that, fuck you. I just can't abide your bullshit. Because... I'm not even talking about me specifically. Yeah, it sucks that I don't have one on pre-order. I wish that I did. But guess what? I'll live. If it's meant to be, I'll end up with one, And frankly, I'm going to fucking try. Because I want the damn thing. But if you're a scalper, fuck you. Just fuck you. So, yeah. Now, that's not the only thing that's really shitty about what Nintendo's been doing for distribution this week. No. Guys, you think that the damn SNES Classic's the only shitty thing going on for Nintendo with distributing their hardware. Brandon, Nintendo Switch. You've been able to find one in your Walmart, right?
Yeah, it's not always, but every now and then I'll go there and they'll have 2. And they'll stay there for a few days, but eventually they do sell out.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Brandon. Tell me something. Have you heard about anybody having to get in on a lottery so they even have the opportunity to buy one? Because that's happening in Japan.
What does that even mean exactly? Like
you have to get in line.
You get to get in line,
and you get a ticket. And if you win the lottery, you can then buy one. Like, you win the opportunity to give these stores money.
Well, in a way, I mean, it's not exactly the same because we didn't have to wait in a fucking line. But I do remember when the Wii came out and you had to put your name down on a waiting list, and you would eventually, like, it may take you a long time, but eventually you would get a call.
And you see, that's bad, like, in terms of, like, being able to get something in the store. But it's not as grotesquely offensive as, oh, you might get one if you come and wait in this line all fucking day. That bugs, like, that to me is super fucking shitty. At the retail level, like, now, we can definitely point the blame to Nintendo again on them not having the hardware out there. But it's a hot selling item. You know, if it sells out as soon as it gets there, that's just the nature of this kind of product sometimes. It sucks and they need to manufacture more, so on and so forth. The same arguments that everybody's making. But I think it's rude that, you know, oh, I've been here since 2 days ago, I've been waiting in line, and oh, and now this guy who's at the back of the line got his ticket and he got one, but I didn't. That's kind of shitty to have to do that, I think. And I don't know, that kind of bugs me. If I was in that situation, I'd be super pissed if something like that had happened. You know? Now, I don't know if they sold tickets to that lottery to get in, but it just sort of bugs me that that's something that's even happening at all, to get this thing into people's hands. Nintendo needs to fucking come around on their hardware, and they need to do it fast.
Well, that's Nintendo.
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, so in slightly more bittersweet news, last year, and several times this year, we've also discussed the follow-up of this. Mark Laidlaw leaving Valve last year. He has finally been interviewed on his days at Valve and the nature of the Half-Life series as he was putting up with it when he left. He confirmed that he did in fact have an ending set up so that when Half-Life 2 ended, the only way that it had another cliffhanger, Half-Life Episode 3, whatever, would have been Gordon going back into hibernation while the G-Man does whatever he does, finish the next episode, and it would have been a completely new plot in the third one, similar to how Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 1 are their own narratives. Now this is confirmed speculation in a way, or confirmation of speculation in a way, but at the same time, it makes me question what's going on at Valve, because our everybody's favorite person to talk crap about at Valve, Gabe Newell, has said on many occasions that Valve does indeed still make single-player games. But the last single-player focused game that they made was Portal 2. And that came out 7 years ago, Brandon?
Jesus.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 7 years.
And the only reason I can remember that it was that long ago is that Joe
because it was a triumph.
Well, damn it, Trent. I remember that specifically just because Joe and I were living together by that point, and I borrowed your copy and played through it. So that was the last time that Valve made a single-player focused video game. So, what is this single-player game they're making? And how are they making a single-player game whenever all of their writers have left?
That's why I don't believe they're actually making any single-player games.
That's pretty much the way it looks. And we know they're not making Half-Life anymore. And at this point, if they did, would it still have the same qualities of, when Half-Life was actually being made? Is this the end of Valve? I think is or not Valve, because Valve as a corporate entity will stay the same. But is this the end of Valve as a corporation that makes new games? Or are they just going to support these long-standing online titles? Like they still support Team Fortress 2, and now they've got Heroes of the Storm? Not Heroes of the Storm. That's Blizzard. Defense of the Ancients. That's their MOBA. Is that the future of Valve? Is more Defense of the Ancients for 15, 20 years before they make one more new online IP?
Probably. Most likely.
Do you really think that they will just be the they're just gonna bank on Valve on Steam forever?
That's what they've been doing. I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen. They have no reason to do anything else. They have no reason to potentially waste money. Though, I mean, nothing they ever do is bad. Everything they do makes money, just like Blizzard. I mean, even if Half-Life Episode 3 or Half-Life 3 or whatever would end up being bad, they would still make shit tons of money before people stop buying it. I mean,
I don't know. Because it would probably be PC exclusive, it would be a long time before I ever got to play that game.
What, Half-Life 3?
Yeah.
I don't see why it would be PC exclusive. I mean,
because at
this stage, consoles could be able to do whatever they wanted it to do.
Oh, I agree, but if you were Valve and you wanted to make all that money, all that Steam money, wouldn't you make it specifically for PC only, to keep it available only on Steam?
No, because there's a massive amount of people who still don't do PC gaming. That'd just be a waste. It'd be it would be a big mistake. Nowadays, the only time that you actually see games only on PC is they're indie and they don't know how to get them on consoles, because while the architecture is similar to PC, it's still not the same. So it's still not the easiest thing in the world, nor the cheapest.
True. And frankly, like for example, that game Blasphemous that I helped kickstart. Mm-hmm. They're hiring an outside studio to help them port to consoles, because they have no idea how to do that. Jeez.
So it's just one of those things. But yeah, that Valve would definitely put it on consoles. Without a doubt. I just don't believe that it's not something we have to worry about. I don't know why people are still waiting for this. I don't want to quote Frozen, but motherfucker, let it go. This shit ain't coming.
You didn't have to point out that it was a reference, Brandon.
Because that shit ain't coming. It's never, ever going to happen. If it was going to happen, it would already happen. It is not going to. And now that pretty much all your writers left, it especially isn't going to happen. Because there's just no point. It has been, in October will be 10 years. Okay?
God, that makes me feel old.
It's definitely time to move on.
Okay, is that 10 years since Episode 2 or 10 years since the release of Half-Life 2?
Episode 2.
Okay, that's what I figured.
So it's worse if it's 13 years for Half-Life 2.
Whew. Man. That makes me feel a little aged.
And what's sad is it's not like these games wouldn't sell. They would sell. They would make money. This is not a franchise. I would sort of understand if this franchise made very little to no money. But that's not what happens. They make tons of money on these games.
Not only that, Half-Life 2 is a game changer. That game did so much to advance the series, or to advance gaming. Maybe that's the reason, because that has actually popped in my mind many times. I was like,
Well, with every entry, main entry, actual regular numbered title, has always been like a great big shift in gaming. Is that the reason why we've not seen anything? Because they're trying to figure out how to not just give us more of the same.
Let me say that's the thing. Half-Life 1 and 2 are... They are different enough to know that they had advanced what they were doing with the series. But the gameplay was still essentially the same. They just added physics puzzles to the second one.
Add portal puzzles and get over it.
God, that's the other thing is like, they have to, that continuity is going to be an issue too.
I know you said portal puzzles, but I heard porno puzzles.
Yes, that's the next thing, porno puzzles.
That too would increase sales.
But, I mean, there's another thing. Why haven't we got another Portal game?
Well, I mean,
another porno game?
Yeah, another porno game. But those sold well too. I mean, I know the second one did.
To be fair, what would the plot be?
It doesn't matter.
I don't think the second one sold as well as the orange box did.
Well, I mean, the orange box had like several different games plus 2 episodes plus 4. Yeah, I wouldn't figure it would, but but based on just the game by itself, Portal 2 did really well. That one was actually really popular. I remember them talking on the news when people getting upset that GLaDOS was making fun of you for being an orphan or a bastard or something.
Yes.
And his mom got really upset because their kid was adopted.
I'm sorry. That was one of the funniest ongoing jokes in the game. That and, like, she kept calling Shell fat. And, of course, Shell is, like, super nimble and tiny.
Yeah. But what the fucking GLaDOS say? She was fucking ran on a potato for a while.
Yeah. I wish that game wasn't expensive on console. I need to get it. So damn good. It's astonishing the things that Valve has done that were so fucking good, only to have them kind of, shit the bed.
Interest.
Yeah, they've just kind of shit the bed when it comes to making games now. Not that the games they make are bad, they just don't make games that are in any way appealing to me. I feel like the emergence of competitive gaming has made so many studios make boring damn games now. Like, studios that were known for excellent games on their own, they're like, oh, and they had multiplayer components before that were, easily moddable and stuff. Now it's a case of, oh, well, we can just make money off of the online stuff, and we don't have to make interesting games anymore. I just miss games being, complete, whenever you bought them, not too, like, not dividing the potential package, because Half-Life's story mode is, like, that Half-Life's campaign is still celebrated now, years on end, for being excellently written and paced and just wonderful game, You can still play Half-Life 1 today, and it's a very good game. Still play Half-Life 2 and its expansions today, and it's very good.
If you get them running.
Do you have issues with yours?
Technically, a lot of people have issues with them, but, if you go digging, you can find workarounds, but they don't actually run properly on modern hardware. Because, Valve doesn't do shit for updating their stuff. Now, that could have changed. I mean, it has been a little while since I've tried, but it was post Windows 10 when I tried, and a lot of them, a lot of the early titles do have problems running.
Even if you download them off of Steam?
Oh yeah, no, they don't update their games.
Huh.
Yeah, there's still stuff that
I'm sure they've had some complaints about that on their like forum.
They don't give a shit.
they don't. Just like they don't care
Wow.
that most of their websites are almost impossible to navigate because of all of the flood of complete garbage independent. Excuse me. The things that are pretending to be games but are ultimately just Steam Greenlight was a fucking piss poor execution of a good idea. Oh. You know, that is the icon of Valve. Just real, you know, every time somebody's like digital future. I at this point, that's one of the things that I look at, that I think about now. I know that it's not the rule or whatever, but that's what I see whenever I think about. That's what I perceive whenever I think about a digital only future. Is shit like Steam Greenlight and now Steam Direct. You know, that's the thing I worry we are headed towards. I'm not saying that digital distribution's a bad thing. Some people prefer it. I think it's a preference thing, but that alone is a harbinger of how it can be exploited.
I just don't like, oh, you know what? It's time to upgrade your computer now, so you can't play any of this until you do. So. Oh
man, I haven't told you guys this yet. I know you guys probably saw where I tried to install Myst 4 and it didn't work. Last night, I just downloaded a patch from Ubisoft's website, and it works now.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, either they or somebody would have made something to make it work. They usually do.
I just can't believe that it was Ubisoft. Like, Ubisoft made a game run on Windows 8.1. That game's like, I wasn't even in high school yet when that came, in college yet when that came out. I'm so happy. I might actually sit down and play that game soon and maybe beat it this time, because, you know, whenever I first played it, I never gave that game enough time, because when I was playing it, I also had Myst 5 and Uru on my laptop, and I was giving Uru a serious run. Because I got all three of those pretty close together. My first girlfriend bought me Myst 5, and I got Uru and Myst 4 at Target. Man, I remember when you could buy these games in stores. Seems so long ago now. Although I guess you can still buy PC games at Target. It's just a very small selection.
Yeah, they do have a few.
And then even then, you're still downloading them when you get home.
Well, heck, if you think about it, when you buy a PS4 game, you're basically downloading the game when you get home.
Yeah, but this is like, it's not even a disc inside that box sometimes.
Yeah, just a code.
Yep. What a strange, strange age. You're buying a piece of paper in a box. Of course, I remember when I bought the orange box, it was the same way. I was kind of disappointed. Yeah, you can install off the disc, but you don't really have to. Well, anyway, have you guys got anything you want to finish on? Or add?
Nope. Can't. Nope.
Alright, well, thank you everybody for listening to the Zoo Trigger podcast for this week. We hope you have enjoyed the show, and if you're watching the live stream, thank you for checking in on that with us. Again, we appreciate you and enjoy your company. From now until next week, and join us on the Facebook and Twitter pages that we have for our lovely podcast. And you should sign up. You should go subscribe to those. It's at Z Trigger Live. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes, or if you're on Podbean, or on. Actually, you can also subscribe here on YouTube, because Brandon has recently started using a feature, and I have not had a chance to thank him for this, that puts our podcast on YouTube. So
yeah, I was uploading them, and I was like, "Hey, there's a YouTube symbol. What does that do?" It's like, instantly upload your bits to YouTube. I was like, awesome.
You know, they would normally be on there anyway, but sometimes we play games that have copyrighted material.
Yeah, that one was banned worldwide.
Yeah. Stupid Revenge of the Sith movie clips being included in my games. Well, yes, you can do all that kind of subscribing and stuff, and, you know, continue the conversation, comment, do all that sorts of stuff. We want to hear from you. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week here on the Z-Trigger Podcast, and good night.
See ya.
Be seeing you.
Alright, gentlemen. I have something horrible to admit. I have no idea what I'm doing in this kid's video game that I am playing.
Well, that's why I stopped playing it.
I've been able to figure out most of the stuff I've been doing, but since I got to the north part of Mean Street, I'm like baffled as to continue because I know I have to fix a generator.
Oh yeah, I got past that part. I don't remember what I did, but because it was so long ago, but I know I got past that.
You know,
because I played for a few days. So.
Damn, you did better than I am. I want to continue playing it. The game's not that bad. It's
meh.
Yeah, I've played worse on the Wii U even.
I like that there's Clarabelle Cow and Horace Horse Collar and characters like that in there that you don't really see that often.
Right. Yes,
Pegleg Pete.
Oh,
who I think was the bad guy in the first one.
That doesn't open this door. I guess that's not even really a door. Alright, well guys, I have a very busy day ahead of me tomorrow. And that makes me very sad because I am sick of being busy. Fucking...
I have a week-long vacation ahead of me.
Nice.
But I'm tired. Because I didn't get home until about 3:30 this morning.
Wow.
I had to wait to sober up at the party before I came home.
Ooh, I gotta close tomorrow night. And tomorrow, Joe and I are gonna go for a walk in the morning, and I'm going to probably... if all goes according to plan, I'm gonna try and write tomorrow before I go to work. Because I'm back to work on Alternative. Which is... very good. I'm actually on Thursday. I actually had a really good writing day.
Yeah, I saw you updating your Facebook group today on your word count.
Whenever I'm doing good, I kind of do it to keep myself going. Sadly, and I pulled out a pretty decent amount of words that day. I was pretty impressed.
Is that when you got 14 pages?
Yep. 14 single space pages at that.
Nice.
And it kept coming, and I'm actually gonna keep most of what I wrote. I think there's very little that I didn't like what I was coming up with in there, and for me it's really good, because there's so much crap that I end up in my own writing that I just read it and afterwards and I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible, or I don't like what I've come up with in any way, shape, or form,
Yeah.
But I got some cool stuff in there, and this is chapter 3 of a book overall. I've written chapter 10 and 11. Well, I've written most of chapter 11, and chapter 12 is the end. Because I basically have been doing, I basically did like I didn't exactly write an outline. I wrote a list of chapters with ideas attached to them for everything that I was going to do in the story after that point. So, it's just, at this point, it's a matter of having time to sit down and write. And hopefully if I can get through this part, I can keep moving fluidly and get through more of this book. It's gonna be longer than anything I've written before, though, I think, because at this stage I've written 35,000 words, and I'm gonna have to rewrite chapter 2 pretty extensively to make it fit, because I wrote chapter 2 as a short story at one point, and it's definitely not a short story anymore. So, well, anyway, I'm gonna wrap up the live stream here on the thing, and I'm gonna go upstairs. I think I'm gonna go read, because I still have a lot of The Wise Man's Fear left to read.
I'm gonna go to sleep.
Alright, guys. Well, this has been fun.
Yep.
And
Next
it's been,
week, book reviews.
yes,
I'll hopefully have something done by then. I'll have time, so maybe I'll finish Witchwood Crown by then.
depending on how reading goes tonight, when I go to bed, I may or may not choose another book to attack when the time comes for next week, because if I don't feel like I can finish The Wise Man's Fear by next Friday, I'm gonna have to read something else,
Yeah.
because that's still a longer book than some of the other stuff I can grab. And don't get me wrong, very little of it's gonna be as good as that. And also, I don't think I'm kind of conflicted on whether or not I should review it, seeing as I just reviewed the
Name of the Wind.
Name of the Wind. So it's a
You reviewed Break Like the Wind
oh
by Spinal Tap. Your review? Shit sandwich.
no, that was my review of Lost Tribe of the Sith.
Yeah. That was all our reviews for it.
Brandon, did you also give it a 1-star review?
Yes. Well, because you can't give anything less than that.
I forgot. Did I give it 2 or 1?
You gave it 1. That's the reason why I asked if you did, if Brandon did, because I did.
What did you give it?
I gave it
Okay.
1.
We all gave it 1.
Actually, I may have given it 2. Of course, I also may have given it 1. I can't remember at this point.
You gave it 1.
Okay. I just remember that I gave it the 2-word review on Goodreads and said exposition wars or something like that.
It stinks.
Oh man.
I missed the critic.
I have almost bought Revan like 3 times to go ahead and have it for the next time we do a review.
Why? Do you hate us?
Well, we gotta get through the shit, Brandon, at some point.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of shit.
Well, I mean...
That right there is a great big pile of shit.
Yeah, what he said.
That's what Ian Malcolm said.
They can't all be as bad as The Lost Tribe of the Sith.
It's all relative.
No, not all of it is relative, but...
I mean, it's like, this is a pile of shit, but this is not as much as a pile of shit. This is almost not a pile of shit, but unfortunately...
This is a pile of vomit.
This is a pile of goat vomit.
This is a huge friggin' piss puddle, and this is poop soup.
Poop soup. Fucking...
I want to play Cards Against Humanity again.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Trent. If I had not played it so damn much in the past couple of years, I would agree with you. But I've played it way too much. It's still fun if the group's right, but I've just played it too much, and it's just...
See, what happened with me was one time I went over to Brad's, and Amanda and eventually a friend of hers, and we played for, what, almost 5 to 6 hours?
Yeah, and that's what killed it for me, too.
And literally, after leaving out, it's like, I will never play that again.
Wow.
I will... no, I will not. You would have to beg me.
Were they that bad at the game?
No, it's just we played it to... When you play it that much, and like whenever I go to my parents' house, it's the same way.
You're not meant to play it for extended periods of time. There are rules. There are points. You're supposed to stop.
Yep.
But that's not how it's played. When you play with the group, they just want to keep going.
Let's go through all the cards we have.
Yes.
And whenever you've got as many cards as I do, oh my, it's hellish. Because eventually I just get to a point pretty quickly that I'm tired of trying to make funny jokes out of cards. Mm-hmm. My sense of humor
I don't try to make funny jokes. I try to make the most disgusting or morally horrendous statement I can.
You know, the same thing in that game's case, but I don't want to do it anymore after a while. I just want to stop completely. It's such a shame. Because the game is fine. I've just played it that long too many times.
Yeah, I understand.
And you know, the other crappy thing is like, I have other better games that I haven't played yet.
How do you know they're better then?
Because they're actual, like, full-on games. Like, I've got, like, for example, I've still not played my Star Wars LCG from Fantasy Flight. And that sucks. I want to play that game, and I have not yet. Because it's hard to find people to play that kind of game with.
Yeah. There's a lot of rules to learn and all that.
Yeah, and enough downtime to do that sort of thing.
Oh God, no. It's like we've not gone anywhere in the past 15 minutes. Get out the door.
So it's a thing. I need to sit down and play that game with a group of people, but it just hasn't happened yet. Okay, we're ending the live stream for this week. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.